Hey my friends, what is good? Derek here from Bomb Socks, back with another week of Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ, one bite at a time. So we are in week 4 of Isaiah, and hopefully you have seen, like I've said before, he is not that hard. And hopefully not only have you seen that he's not that hard, but there's a lot of benefit and there's a lot of great things with Isaiah. And I really think he'll help you. So this week we're going to study chapters 50 through 57, and there's some great things in here. So I've had the opportunity of working with youth and young adults for really the last probably 25, close to 30 years of my life. As I've been a seminary and institute teacher, I work with about age 14 up to about age 30 or so. One question that I have noticed as I've asked the youth and young adults, I've asked this question, and I say, how many of you are nervous or scared for the future? And almost every hand goes up. And if you're nervous for the future, that doesn't make you a bad human. I think it just makes you a normal human, right? You look at our world, and the more you think about what our world is like and the things that are going on and all the uncertainties, yeah, the future gets a little bit nerve-wracking when you start thinking about those things, particularly when you are that age, when you're looking at, like, you know, your career, your marriage, family, finances, home, all of those things right there. It gets a little bit nerve-wracking. So one of the things I wanted to do here is, since we're studying Isaiah 50 to 57, I want to focus on Isaiah 50 to 52 in a very kind of overarching way for a moment. In the Come Follow Me for this week, one of the things it says is, the future is bright for the Lord's people. We've seen President Thomas S. Monson, one of his greatest things that he used to say always was, your future is as bright as your faith. So one of the things it says here in the manual, it says, even though the Israelites spent many years in captivity, and even though their captivity was the result of their own poor choices, the Lord wanted them to look to the future with hope. I love that. What hopeful messages do you find in Isaiah 50 to 52? What does the Lord teach us about himself in these chapters, and why does this give you hope? And it gives you some examples here. So one of the ones I want to give to you that I think will help you, I want to take you down to verses 10 and 11. These are the last 2 verses of this chapter. It says, who is among you that feareth the Lord, or reverences the Lord, that obeyeth the voice of his servant, and walketh in darkness, and hath no light? Meaning, who's out there obeying the Lord and his servants? It even gives you a cross-reference to D&C 1 verse 38, where it talks about, whether by my own voice or the voice of my servants, it is the same. It says, let him trust in the name of the Lord and stay upon his God. Or the footnote says, be supported by his God. So it's like, how many of you out there are following the Lord and you're not seeing it? Well, verse 11 might give you a little bit of clarity to this. Behold, all ye that kindle a fire, that compass yourselves about with sparks, walk in the light of your fire, and in the sparks that ye have kindled. This shall ye have of mine hand, ye shall lie down in sorrow. So it almost seems to suggest that if you are trying to make it all about you, then that's where you're going to see some problems. This last week, Elder David A. Bednar did an Instagram Live, and some of you might have seen it. I thought it was so cool. If you haven't had a chance, go back and watch it. It's all amazing. He just does a Q&A with just whoever brings in questions. He said one thing, and he was talking specifically about preparing people for missionary service, but I love this little counsel right here. So watch this.
Let's see, these are flying in here now. What is the best advice you can give for someone who's about to go on a mission? It's not about you. I visit with thousands and thousands of missionaries every year. And rightfully, understandably, they'll say, well, I'm working so hard, but I'm not having the success that I think I should have. Can you hear the problem in that series of statements? I. You go because you love the Lord. You serve because you want to assist others to come unto him. You need to lose yourself in the service of others. And when you get lost serving the Lord, you'll ultimately find out who you really are. So the best advice, you're going to go to a place you might not choose to go. You might have for companions people you might not choose to associate with. You may eat food that you really don't like. All of which can propel you to be kind of self-centered. No, I'm not very happy about all this. That's just part of the adjustment to missionary life and growing up and learning to serve with your heart, might, mind, and strength in conditions you wouldn't ordinarily serve. Get over yourself. It's not about you. Lose yourself in service to Him. And the irony is you will come home after you've served for 18 or 24 months, and after these experiences that seem so hard now, you will proclaim, it was the greatest experience of my life, and it will have been.
I love the boldness of Elder Bednar. It's not about you, okay? And I think it's interesting when we try to make it about ourselves, then yeah, the future really, there's not a lot of hope to it, because when we try to kindle our own sparks are very showy, they're very temporary, and they're very flashy, but they don't always produce a lot of light. Now, you contrast that with what's over in chapter 52. This is one of the most well-known verses. I love this verse, and I don't just love it because I'm a huge fan of socks. But you go to verse number 7. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publish peace, that bringeth good tidings of good, that publisheth salvation, that saith to Zion, thy God reigneth. Now again, it's not about you and I. When we start really focusing on others and trying to bring them to Jesus Christ, that's when our future starts becoming wonderful. This last week, Brother Stephen J. Lund, who's the General Young Men's president, he gave a BYU speech that is awesome. If you get a chance to watch it, go watch it. It kind of has almost a TED Talk feel to it, the way he's standing right there. So his talk was called Flashes of Light. Now, Isaiah talked about sparks that we generate. One of the things he said here is, Brother Lund said, life often presents like an incessant gray wall stretching off into nowhere. With that in mind, you can see why some people are very scared of the future. But here and there, if you watch for them, flickering assurances of God's love will become evident. So I love that, how it's like the other ones, like you focus on you, all you're doing is just kindling little sparks that aren't going to have much value to them. But you focus on the goodness of God's love, how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of those that publish peace and say, thy God reigneth. That's when you see flashes of God's love. And those are the things that I think that give you hope for the future. You get that little step of goodness, that one step where you see the goodness of the Lord, and it gives you that hope for the future. Again, your future is as bright as your faith. And sometimes it is those flickering assurances as we choose to share the gospel with others. So anyway, I hope that helps you out. I hope that gives you a little bit of hope for the future. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And thanks so much for sharing these messages. We love that you do that. Please go check out our amazingly comfortable gospel themed socks at bombsocks.com. And you guys have a great day. And we'll see you. Godspeed. Bye-bye.